Welcome back, y'all. Tyler Talks. I'm going to talk a little bit. Just came back from Kentucky State a few days ago. It was a whirl of a weekend. Um, I got back from, I was not planning nor planning to go to Kentucky State the last few weeks leading up to it. I don't know exactly when, but I had always been planning to go, and then was told I'd be going out back to Kansas to support my old client for a little bit, which I was happy to do, but wasn't happy to miss Kentucky State. So Brian asked, "You going?" Or are you bringing anyone, or what time you getting here, or something? And I was like, "Yeah, about that." So really sucked. I was bummed, and then I ended up being able to go. They did not need me on the weekend, and all sorts of stuff changed. I changed flights, and I was able to go. So it was awesome. Great host, Brian Jones, Booster Jones, my bad. Also, amazing job with just that play group. A lot of great young men that are playing the game at a high level. Um, so very good. I enjoyed playing them, and they got some big wins, and it was just fun to be a part of. I think there was like 40, like 38 to 42, somewhere around there. Pretty much everyone playing Type One, and we can have more. I'm trying to build the Greenville group up. Um, So I'm hoping to bring some more people next time. And we had some other people that couldn't make it. So who knows? That was just a state. So we had I think over 40 people at a state. So it was a good time. I'm trying to get better with OBS and mess with my properties. I'm just pretty strapped on time lately. We're trying to get the new set ready to go to print. Um, really working in there a lot. And this is on the back burner. And I'm also working, like traveling, and then trying to um, just get my type twos and type ones that I want to play ready to go as well. So I'm going to try to get the camera going and get the tier videos ready to roll. I'm excited to do all that. So we'll have some more stuff coming up. So what is this that I'm showing you all? Is this what I played at Kentucky State? Nope. This is what I wanted to play at Kentucky State, or at least a rendition of what I wanted to play at Kentucky State. And this is called Golden Years, and it is 57. And I'll be honest, I think 57 is very good in this current meta, where I feel decks are easy to read. People are still, not exclusively, but GOC is still being frequently played. And because of that, it's going on year three, year two of phase two of GOC. It's just easy to kind of guess what people are playing as soon as the game starts. There's enough star abilities and look at a hand in reserve to where you can kind of know what your opponent is doing. Um, and people are playing very fast, and they're kind of used to the power level of GOC. So they kind of expect what their attacks are, and they only have so many numbers. There's so much enhancements that they can play, and then they only have so many blocks as well. I think with 57, you still have great speed with plenty of stuff. There's all sorts of speed. This is a pretty fast deck for 57. You get the additional Dom, and you have more resources, and it still plays fast. It's really just a matter of consistency at that point, and consistency is great. What are you trying to be consistent with? Like, really, that's what I ask. Um, you should always be able to get to your DOMs and have ways to get to what you need. So I kind of wonder what consistency is always thrown around, that you have to have 50 cards to be consistent. Um, what are you trying to consistently get is what I'll ask. And then you could always add more cards and maintain the same ratio. So I like 57. I'm comfortable with more defense. I've talked about you play better with what you're comfortable with usually, and what you know, and that's why it's so important to know your deck. So I played a 57 card, kind of D heavy. I call it like a methodical disciples, where I played Church of Christ to get some tokens. And since I only had 8 heroes, but I wanted a big bang effect for Love One Another. I love going right on into Love One Another because people put down their stuff and they feel safe behind Herod's Temple. Um, you get the hand look and you just play Love One Another, like 20 shekels, play a character, and play right on with Love One Another. All their stuff is converted, and you're just kind of sitting there ready to go. You just walk in, um, and then now you have heroes to choose the rescuer on your defense. So I've always liked that play. So I played like methodical disciples where I waited to have the right attacks and I would have a high success rate in my battles. And then I was playing uh, Murderous Command, Warrior Overtaken, Philistine Garrison, Sheol, and Gates of Hell. And I would add to battle all day, and I would add to battle off Gates of Hell, King of Tyrus, and Afflicting Spirit. I was able to choose the rescuer with Afflicting Spirit on the converted people and kind of do whatever I wanted in battle. And I was also able to give you Doomed Canaanites and have another choose the blocker target while still getting value on Doomed Canaanites. So I had a lot of, like I said, methodical rescues. This is what I wanted to play, at least in some sort of rendition like I started with. It's called Golden Years, and I'll get into it. We do have kind of ways to get to 40 years, mostly revolving around Amazing Faith, but New Covenant and Emmaus Road to get to Amazing Faith. We're not trying to rush early. We do have speed. We have Mask of Pride, Mask of Arrogance, Denarius, 4 Drachma coin, enough searching in there with Matthew. There's not like a huge rush to get to Matthew. I feel like there's enough strong, good attacks here. I feel like I can block successfully, so I don't need to play super aggressively, nor do I want to. I want my opponent to play very aggressive, and then as they start putting down more characters in general, I have both Shipwreck and Woes to get rid of their protection, and I have Akeem to hopefully negate their color guard. And then I like to go into a 40 years on turn 3 or 4, underdeck their artifacts and all their characters. All mine stay out. I have both Herod's Temple and Noah's Ark. So my heroes are protected in territory from harm. And I play 40 years as evil. I don't put my 2 emperors down. I play 40 years as evil. I have unity and evil alignment. So my heroes are protected. I ensure yours are not. And I also know when I'm going to play 40 years to where I'm not putting down a bunch of characters and then I get them back. They're just through drawing and wandering Israelites and stuff like that. But I also, Simon of Cyrene, can then activate a gospel artifact from deck. So you now have 1 hero and 1 evil character out. I like to play Teaching in Parables. I really want Bartimaeus in here, or Bartimaeus, because once I play Teaching in Parables, I can just go in with Bartimaeus and get back Teaching in Parables. That's really good. I really like having like Exiles, Bartimaeus, Coming Prince. Like if I can play Teaching in Parables over and over, then I'm just keeping you off evil. The other thing is I really like 20 shekels in this build, so it's not ideal. But with 20 shekels, I can play a character from your hand. And what I do is I just walk in with Zacchaeus in reserve. I walk in with Mary in reserve, or I walk in with Thaddeus and shuffle, or I walk in with Simon and activate Holy Grail. And your only character down is now gone. So I also have Talitha Come and Ascension to where I can get back, or I can band in Mary, Thaddeus, and Zacchaeus in a big band and get rid of 3 evil characters, or I can band in Mary and Zacchaeus, because Mary doesn't say or I'm sorry, Mary and Thaddeus are reserve, and Zacchaeus is not. So I can hit your reserve, abandon Zacchaeus um, with John the Fisherman or Jairus' daughter. I can toss Ascension CBN, so I can abandon Jairus, do a lot of good stuff there, and still get the toss. So there's just a lot of really strong attacks. I think gold's kind of written off, and I also think gold's kind of taken as you have to play gold with crimson, and I don't agree. I think you can play gold with anything, and you also can mix gold. We don't really see a lot of gospel getting mixed. We've seen it mixed with clay a couple times, and it just really didn't stick. You get Amazing Faith, Teaching in Parables, Emmaus Road, and when you're playing Talitha Cum and Ascension, and you have Zacchaeus and Jairus' daughter and John the Fisherman, people love playing Joanna, but then they just completely step aside Jairus and his daughter. So I really like this offense. So I play 40 years. You have one character, and I just go straight to Holy Grail with Simon. I could also go straight to 4 drachma, denarius, or New Covenant with Simon. Really good artifacts that Simon can go to, so I can get a speed burst early on. Um, or afterwards, when my artifacts are underdecked, every single artifact Simon can immediately activate from deck. It's very good. So the banding cards are already amazing. Like, we know that, we've been playing them. I've always played banding. I've always been a big proponent of banding. It's just now a matter of who do I band in, and if I can band in something to where I can hit your territory really hard, your character in battle, I can activate an artifact, I can toss the next, I can draw, I can get cards from my reserve. It's just really good. The defense can block all day. The offense is extremely powerful. I think most people just kind of are playing like Great Commission, Untouchable, Love One Another, and they're not playing like an extra band or two. They're not playing. We're not seeing Life in the Sun. One of my favorite attacks that the opponent they're not going to notice is I either Good Seed or New Covenant. Um, one of the cards I need, let's just say Bless the Nations, and I come in with Mary and grab Life in the Sun. I play my banding card, and I bring in Jairus and just whoever else works. Um, Simon, and I can bring in Simon and activate Holy Grail is very good. You can do this with Judas, like you can bring Judas into the deck, and you could have Judas in 30 pieces. The original deck name was 20, 30, 40, and it was 20 shekels, 30 pieces of silver, in 40 years. And I was able to play characters from your hand, snipe them with Simon, Holy Grail, Simon, 30 pieces. It's just trying to bring it down more. You could probably get this to 50 with a lot of consistency. With there we go with consistency again. What is that, right? Um, I guess just take away stuff you don't need. So maybe a couple evil characters and Descent, and then we take out a Lost Soul and a Dominant, and we're almost at 50 already. Um, I don't know. I don't necessarily think you need that. So either way, I like going Mary, Bless the Nations, and um, like I have Life in the Sun in hand, or Mary takes it, whatever it is. Like usually I'll grab Life in the Sun with New Cov. Um, doesn't matter. I have plenty of ways to get it. Mary, Bless the Nations, and I could either get rid of your character with Simon, Holy Grail, and I can go Jairus' daughter, Mary's CBN, and daughter gets top decked. Jairus negates everything. So he kicks himself out. I'm now tossing the next. Simon's ability CBI, he's gone. So everyone's gone, and guess what? I'm back to Mary. I negated everything, and I have a CBP in battle. Pretty cool. You could also play stuff like this with silver and have like Heavenly Host. People just aren't playing Church of Christ. I think you still can. But I like that attack. It's just another one people don't see coming, and you get a lot of value. You get Jairus' daughter back on top. You get a draw out of it, potentially a decent draw. We don't have a ton of Meeks. We're probably just going to have Matthew, maybe Thaddeus, Mary herself, and Peter. So at most, we're getting a draw 4. But still, it's not bad to get all that. So yeah, there's just a lot to do. A lot of sneaky attacks where we're making these big band cards massive battle winners, or sneaky battle winners, or high value, especially when we're banding in Mary, Thaddeus, Zacchaeus, and we can just band in Jairus' daughter or John. So we have two types of tosses, and one toss being CBP, which is really nice. So we're definitely trying to keep them off their characters. As soon as you go into that 40 years, it is onslaught, get rid of their territory. They don't have really much left after that. I would like to have Deserving Scorn. It's just tough to constantly get that artifact going, because what I like to do is when you have one hero down, I like to just activate my Madness or Deserving Scorn and just get rid of that hero, and then walk in with Simon and get rid of the evil character. I think people are still sleeping on character removal and how good character removal is. And with here, we are just massive amount of character removal. We have 3 characters that can remove characters in some fashion: reserve, shuffle, reserve. And then we have AOC, Love One Another, Power of the Spirit, Day of Judgment, plus Holy Grail, even though they can bounce and stuff, and that's just on good. So I really like it. It's a lot of fun to play, and this guy right here, 40 years, is just so underrated. If you're going up against the Choose the Blocker deck, you can underdeck all their characters. They lose the Choose the Blocker, whether they're tokens or placed cards. So that's really good. If they have a ton of tokens out for like Impartial Judgment, you know that's about to happen. Boom, they're all gone. If they just have a huge advantage or momentum shift, you play 40 years. A lot of people are relying on the outsiders, black gold outsiders, not the just outsiders. They're relying on outsiders. Really good block. That's always a great card. That requires board advantage. I can just play 40 years and pop you and just keep you off anything. And then outside of that, we have the interrupts to go into both battle winners, and the battles. If opponent uses draw ability this turn and the battle, it's also very good if they're using search abilities. We can just activate a curse. It's also good because if I need to, Abaram can reserve it, and I have protection with Abaram. So multifaceted card use is very good. And then I also like having, if I have Waste and Disease as an artifact, when I play 40 years, it goes back to the deck, and guess what? Abaram can go right back to it and reserve it for protection. I could see a case for Overtaken being in here. If I really wanted to focus on this deck, I would bring in multiple ways to get rid of Glory of the Lord. And as soon as I get rid of Glory of the Lord, I feel comfortable. Because 40 years underdecks their stuff. Being able to pop Eliezer, but people need to realize they have to have outs against Glory of the Lord, a lot of them. And if you can couple those outs to where they're the exact same as your Nazareth cards, then you're good. That's what you should look at. How can I get around Nazi, and how can I get around Glory of the Lord? And then start picking apart. Like, you need to get around Glory, and then there's still pieces, but at least you can start targeting them. You got to get rid of Eliezer and have a negate neutrals. We're not seeing negate neutrals, which is crazy to me, because like Honeypot, yes, it gets around that, but if you can pick apart pieces, like Honeypot is devastating. Neutrals are still everywhere, and we're not seeing negate neutrals. We're just not seeing territory class characters anymore really being played, just a few here and there. But if I can just get an ongoing ability that does something to you or stops you from doing something for free, I tend to play that all day. So also I like that I have stuff for Akeem. That's really good. A lot of people, I get this question all the time. And when I was designing Brown, the biggest thing was like, I'm not seeing any turn one blocks. Um, and so like Gabe and I talked about it in the design team of like, what are the lines of play here turn one to where I'm not just trying to get my curses later on then block. Like I want to be able to block turn one. And so we fixed up Wilderness Brown and just Wilderness in general. So when people say, well, I've had this question all the time. It's what are Browns, like Brown Wilderness, what are their blocks turn one? Um, More than likely, they used a draw ability turn one. I can negate their entire good brigade in battle. That's good. And it's an 8-12. I have a 7-9. Nope, that's not it. Oh, yeah. I have a 7-9. I can just get a free protection from all heroes and then banned. So I have a 7-9 that bans to any single person in my offense. Of course, I have the draw one that goes to anyone in my offense. And then I have the draw two auto block usually on turn one. And yeah, Rebellious, big numbers, big bander. Not great turn one, but it's nice just having that extra big numbers with banding. And then from the Breaker's perspective, if they used a search ability, then I get protection. And then Sabbath Breaker, if they play like a territory class enhancement, you have a chance for it working. But the fact that all these guys banned and I can bring in a breaker to potentially have prevent enhancements is really good with CBN stuff to back it up. So I think Brown's good. I think it can block. I think people they're worried about Holy Holies. I get that. So you can bring in Endless Treasures and Overtaken, but there's a lot of ways to build. Remember, this is just a prototype. So I'll go into some quick gameplay and just kind of show you how it plays out. I'll give you Hoppy Hop. And then, like, yes, I play bigger defenses. I enjoy this size defense. From right here, it's like, what do I do turn one? To be honest, I hope that they go first. And it's like, well, hope isn't a good plan. I always say that. Well, if I win the roll, I get to choose that they get to go first. If they win the roll, usually they choose for them to go first. However, I didn't draw any lost souls, so maybe they don't have soul gen. Regardless, I can block all day. Worst case is I just pass turn and go from there because nothing I can do is Zacchaeus turn one. Matthew feasts on me. I could put down Zacchaeus as a hero, and I could put down Breaker, and they would get a D4 instead of a D6. That sounds way better to me. So maybe that is something I would look at doing turn one, is put down a little bit of the cards that are going to hit me, and then they'll just get a D4. You're still going to see a lot of Matthew at Nats. You're just going to see a lot of Disciples in general. So if you can play cards that get around Matthew and they don't get that D4 to D, who knows, they don't get like that D6, 7 turn one, then you're good. It's a huge swing there. Or, I mean, you can play Herdsman and stuff. So from here, depending on what they do, I would love for them to attack. Let's say they did Matthew me. Draw one, bring it in. And then I can go straight to a draw two and a kill card. Like that's a nice little auto block. Or I could go to a bander to go back to more banding. So just the fact that I have options, or I go to a beefy person and also band. It just kind of depends on what I want to do. If they used a search ability, then I would get the protection. So what's nice is if there's nothing to banish in their pile, I still have the ban and I get the additional protection. And I could come here for more numbers and go to breaker and I get the draw 3. Now if they have AOC, I still have the falling away. If not, then they have to get around the protection. I didn't do Aberon because I have Sabbath Breaker, but they would have to get around the protection and a 3 character ban turn 1 that drew 4, and I have 2 masks, an end of battle, and a scattered. I feel very good about that block. I don't know, that's just a lot to get around first turn, and that's assuming I had nothing to target with Sabbath Breaker for the preventing, and maybe I didn't want to. Maybe I just wanted to not prevent anyway because I have 2 masks. Now from here, you can get greedy and play Denarius for the draw 3. You can do that. Since we like to play 40 years, we kind of keep Denarius afterwards. That gives us an immediate character after we underdecked all of our evil characters, pretty much. So we also know our evil characters are going to go underneath -1. You can play 20 shekels and you can bounce one of your evil characters. You can play Book of the Covenant in this deck, and you can have Oath of Purity in reserve with like Send the Helper as well, and you will remain. Like that's a good move to do. You probably should have that in this deck. And when you do Oath of Purity, you bounce your 2 humans to your hand. So for me, like I'd bounce these 2 guys in my hand. I'd play 40 years. I'd protect him. I literally have no one that would go underneath, like assuming I have Temple or Noah's Ark. So that's kind of what you should build this deck for. Oath of Purity, 20 shekels. Once again, it's just a prototype. A lot of times I'll just build the design, like the concept of the deck, and then go from there. I like to, as early as possible, get that value from good seed. To where not only do I have my add to battle, but I have my snag. But I forgot, I don't have anything in my hand to attack with the Zacchaeus. So I wouldn't go to reserve. Even though that's nice, I can start pulling next turn. Probably if I want, I could be aggressive and go to Amazing Faith and just attack with the Zacchaeus Amazing Faith. But I'm going to be honest, I kind of don't want to do that. I maybe could win, but that gives me an 11-6. That snags a Dom. I don't really like that. I'm okay with not attacking. Like, I'm fine with it. I know I'm going to get resources. I have Denarius. I have Emperors in my hand. I can leave them. I can go to 40 years next turn if I want to, with Zacchaeus Amazing Faith. And now I have a good seed, a Denarius, Emperors in my hand. I'll have to play that. But I feel like I'm in a good spot. Assuming they have Soul Generation. They got to get around, once again, a big band, but a big band that can prevent enhancements and put you in special initiative. And I think that just isn't played. It's weird that I got to keep talking about it, but when I can prevent your enhancements, then put you in special initiative, or if there's 2 heroes like there normally is, like a Simon Peter to John the Fisherman or something like that, or if they just attack with a toss hero, that's also very common. I get to put you in SI before you get to play your battle winner that you're trying to make me toss. So this is very good, and guess what? I get the free artifact activation, which is huge. And I don't have to target the hero in battle. Once again, we're going to do 40 years. If I want to target your hero in territory, do it. Get rid of one pesky hero and don't even put him in SI. And then go into Sabbath Breaker, draw 3. I swear I have Lost Souls in this deck. And then you draw 3, have the potential protection. If they play anything, we could go into either of our masks, since We have Emperors in our hand. We probably keep that gray mask and go into the brown. I guess I'm just not going to draw Lost Souls. And we can just go into any of our battle winners here, whether it's an end the battle or a scattered. We can't really do anything with Descent unless we're just going to negate and make them do something else because we already did our artifact activation. So the curse. So who knows? Maybe they got a bunch of heroes and I didn't want to use Madness because I wanted my CBN scattered. Either way, other than not having add to battles in here, which I would, if I'm going to do a competitive deck, I would have add the battles. Other than that, I'll do a star ability. I would definitely incorporate add the battles, especially after 40 years, where I can just get the add the battle, and it can be like an Amalekite slave and go to your territory and not mess with my stuff. So remember, I don't have to put down my artifacts. So from here, and or I can use my artifacts. So I have Good Seed, Upkeep, and gonna be honest, there's a lot we could take. Oh, how'd you get there? And our hand's already maxed. And this is where we kind of really want to take control of the game at this point. You should, with a 57 card deck, you should be taking out their characters or really going into your big attack, whether it's a big impartial judgment with tokens. Turn 3, you really want to start being in control, not necessarily the aggressor, but being in control of the board state with a bigger deck. So we can get out a hero, not a hero, but a disciple, and we have a lot of options. Don't really know what to grab here. There's a bunch. We still have New Covenant we can use. We still have Emmaus Road. And we have Teaching in Parables. I have 40 years. I'm ready to pull the trigger. So I would use my... I would put down a character that I'm okay with losing. I don't need my protection right now. I only have 2 heroes. Keep everything else in my hand, and guess what? Play Teaching in Parables. I still have my New Covenant, and I can go to deck or reserve. Don't really know what to go to. I would look at my reserve. If I needed to, I could play Emmaus Road to Noah's Ark and keep my stuff out. I just don't need to. I would for sure play Teaching in Parables and reserve their evil character in their hand. If they have 2, get rid of the best one. You know, it's not a big deal. So I'd reserve their evil character in their hand, use my New Covenant, so many good choices here. Now I could play 40 Years as Evil, and I get to pick one of my evil characters. This is for sure gone. This is probably gone. I like having my draw with potential protection. And now, sure, we lost 2 artifacts and 3 characters. Oh, you 2. 4 characters. They lost everything they had out. If they did have protection out, I wouldn't have played that there. I would have played it different. I would have gone to Amazing Faith earlier, or done it in battle, which this in battle is very good. You can play this at any time, and I don't think people understand that. I could rescue, or you could rescue with a big band, and then I could play 40 Years, and I can keep your one hero in battle that you probably don't have much for compared to if you're doing a bunch of banding. So now guess what? I still have my artifact for Peter Drachma. I still have a place to activate it. So I can activate 4 Drachma and go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then underdeck a card from hand to draw another. I really don't think I need Emmaus Road right now. And I just draw another. I have all these resources, and I still get an artifact activation, and I have Talitha come with John the Fisherman and Zacchaeus. So you have one character down. I could just reserve it or go in with Simon. Either or. Simon activates Holy Grail, and you're converted. So I'll just put a counter on that. And that's it. I played Teaching in Parables, so you either I know what's in your hand. Now I converted. I would like choose the rescuer in here, but I just couldn't fit everything. I'm trying to maintain unity. I have 2 emperors. Maybe 1 emperor comes out for Pontius Pilate. But yeah, there's nothing you can do if you play a dominant. I have good seed. I'll be honest, I would use Second Coming to get to 40 years if you started catching back up. Just keep you off your characters and walk in. So now I'm confident I can put down my stuff. It's okay. I no longer need unity. I don't, unless you're going to Second Coming back into it, it's okay. So I put down my emperors that they had no clue that I had. You don't want to put down all your characters all the time. Here, that would be discarded, probably. I don't like discarding Korra's Rebellion. It's such a good card because I can ban to yours if you have any down. And if you had that 1 down, guess what? I'm going to ban to it. Definitely want to keep this in my hand. There's nothing really, so we have to discard something here. I hate to do it. So yeah, now they have 1 hero and whatever they draw. I feel like I'm in the driver's seat big time because they have that 1 hero. I have Blood Avenger with Woes. That's probably what my block would be. Would be a Blood Avenger, see what they have, and then play 3 Woes. Nothing I can do with that. Upkeep, take a good enhancement. I'm just wondering, do I want to take a good enhancement? Because more than likely I have to get rid of it. And maybe First Sacrifice comes in here because I'm going to flip Simon Peter, and I just have another way to hit your hand. So that probably should come in. And once again, I can flip over Holy Grail and go to Temple Vale. And then Simon can come in, but he can't activate Holy Grail. He'd have to activate something else. But I have it, and we'll just cheat and go to the deck just so I can show you all. So he can activate New Covenant. He could activate Denarius. I think that's the last of them. So I can get another draw 3 or another resource, or I can look at their hand and see, do they have an evil character in their hand? I doubt they're going to put it back or put it down. And they have 1 evil character, and I have an onslaught of things to do. So I just don't see them being able to block me at this rate. Probably just Simon, John. And since they only have 1 evil character, what I like to do, I'll show them a Dom. I'll draw 2, and they block, and I play Ride On. And it's really whatever I want here, that as long as it's clay or green, I could play anything. So I'm tossing the next. So this is one of my favorite plays. A lot of people will play Ride On early. You know, I talk about Ride On with Love One Another. I get a lot of value from this attack as well. So I can go Ride On. It's actually Awesome Things. So I play Awesome Things, and I get to play an enhancement on my Meek hero. So what are my options? The CBN discard, really not needed if they only did, assuming they have one. The love one another. So if they do block with Foreign Wives from hand or Deceiver to Foreign Wives, this is essentially CBN because I toss the next. Or I can band and get the artifact activation plus the reserve. Same with Bless the Nations. I can do that as well because it's all the same testament. It just, once again, depends on what they block with. Probably play Talitha Cum. And I would reserve them, plus get the artifact activation. And don't know, do I want Daenerys and just keep drawing like a madman? So that's what I'm saying. Like, you can make your 57 card decks extremely fast. I get to activate more artifacts than you, so I definitely win the artifact. I'm keeping you off your characters. I am gathering tons of resources. I am able to have cheese rescues all day. I have Falling Away with Zacchaeus. We could play Shipwreck if we think there's something out there. And I just have a lot of weapons at my disposal. And I take you off of what you can do. So that's it. I still feel like you can tune this with Book of the Covenant. You will remain Oath of Purity if you want, or you can bring this down to 50. It won't hurt my feelings. You can change up the offense, but I really like you can just play. Another aspect is you could play Nativity with Nazi, and you get Mary Holy Virgin, and it's the same thing. Like, as soon as you get that 40 years, Mary's an absolute tank. What's nice is you don't need to convert her with Nativity. You just keep her in the White Brigade and just keep grabbing your star cards. And with Nazareth, they're staying at the bottom. And since this is a heavy draw deck, and you know to keep your artifacts in your hand, you're good. You just limit your Simon block or your Simon rescue. And maybe you just switch to Nativity in general, just do white, and you just focus on Mary Holy Virgin and Thaddeus. But yeah, either way, there's a lot of builds. I really think 40 years is undervalued, underrated, underutilized. And when you can control the whole board like that on your turn or on theirs before they attack, boom, done. They're all underneath. And you're just sitting there with like characters in your hand, artifacts in your hand. Really, it's good on your turn because you have all those cards to your advantage, plus Daenerys and 4 Drachma. Like, when I can just put Drachma on Peter and I can draw and just get rid of it. Daenerys, I can just draw and get rid of it. It's just really good to have. So I think it's a different deck than normal. That is a very strong concept that helps with the whole momentum factor to where, hey, I'm still in this game. Even if it comes out late game, then all their stuff's down. You just want to quickly pop them. Or if they get too much stuff, you AOC. So there's just a lot of ways to get rid of characters. So I hope you all enjoyed. I think this is a unique deck that's very strong, that can be built in many ways. So I also like that aspect. This is just a prototype. It's a concept deck, so it's not fully tuned, but it is one that I really like. And I don't think I have anything else. Brian, thanks for hosting. Kentucky State was amazing, and can't wait to make it back up and play with some other crazy decks like I always do. I never go to a tournament with something normal in Type 1. It is always something different. And I want to continue to prove that you can win with other themes outside of GOC. They just got to be played right, and you just have to know what the meta is and how to play against it. Sure, the offense here is GOC, but it's using Gospel Gold, and we're not seeing a lot of that. So hope y'all enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I get back on Monday or Tuesday of next week. So right now it is Wednesday. I get back Monday or Tuesday, and then I'm good to go. Then I am free to party, and I am going up to Chad's Regional. It's been announced already. I live in South Carolina. I am making the very long flight over to Chad. Really excited to meet that play group and just go to another state I haven't been to and be able to meet those guys, play against them. There's some really good Type 2 competition up there as well. So I'm excited. I do have a Type 2 version of this. So I'm just excited to play and not sure what I'm going to build for Type 2. But what's really nice is I have a lot of time to prep when I get back from my work trip. So really excited for Chad's regionals, and the fact that I get to play everything and come hopefully prepared will be great. Who knows? Maybe I'll make the rankings if I do well in regionals up there. Um, that'll be exciting. I love the rankings. I still promise tier videos. That is something I'm super excited about, but I want to do it right. So I'm still trying to make sure my OBS is all correct and make sure I can do tier videos to where you can see everything clear instead of jumbled up. So it's just something I'm working on, and I'll give you guys some good tier videos right as we're getting into state tournaments and in early regionals. I'll be getting into those videos. So definitely stay tuned. Got some fun stuff for the channel. And we're starting spoilers as well, Nat spoilers, and then going into some new set spoilers soon-ish. So just a good time for the game in general. So I've been rambling on for a few minutes at the end of this video. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. See y'all.